Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today, I wanted to update my guide to the cash shop that's aimed at beginner players to give you a bit of a sense as to how the Path of Exile cash store works, why the game is not a pay-to-cheat game, and if that ever changes, I will remove this video and make apparent notes to that effect, although it's never been pay-to-cheat since it's been out in 2013 or so. And to give you an idea as to what to prioritise if you're looking to play the game on a low budget. So firstly, I just want to reiterate that this is not one of those games where you buy major character power items or other sorts of cheat codes from an in-game store. So there's no experience point potions, there's no currency crafting materials, there's none of those sorts of things in the game. The only thing that provides any sort of in-game advantage at all firstly is additional character slots, which can allow you additional storage and the like. And secondly is additional stash tabs. These are going to form the majority of what you're going to want to purchase if you're a new player. Other than that, the game is the publisher of the game, Grunning Games, mostly gets their funding by selling supporter packs. What a supporter pack is a bundle that includes store points that you can use to purchase microtransactions individually, and in addition to that, bundled with a bunch of cosmetics. So to take one of the current examples, I'm recording this during the Delirium League, so the Fate Weaver supporter pack is still available, but this will change. These sort of cycle out on about a 3-month basis. Currently, the Fate Weaver supporter pack is $30 US. 250 points, you'll notice it has. Points bought a la carte are 10 cents US each, so basically 25 points would cost $25 to purchase individually, plus the various things that you see here cosmetics wise. So there's a cloak, there's this weapon effect, which is a glow that you can attach to pretty much any single weapon in the game, a in-game portrait frame, this silly forum title here that you'll probably never notice, and a soundtrack that you can download. And usually at the moment, there'll be a $30 pack of one aesthetic, and then a $60 pack of the same aesthetic that is intended to be considerably better as a value proposition. So the Elite Fate Weaver supporter pack contains everything that was in the Fate Weaver pack, plus also this entire armor set and another 300 store points. This pack may not be available at the time you're watching this video, but there'll be something pretty similar. Essentially, what Grunning Games are trying to do is encourage a lot of players to spend $60 US on one of these supporter packs every now and again, like when there's one that jumps out that that people really like. Additionally, there's usually 2 of these available at any given time. So there's the Elder Darkseer, I think, is the most popular of the current batch that are available. This one has a portal microtransaction that's pretty popular. That's also available in the smaller one. A reasonably interesting and unique looking armor set. Then there's the core supporter packs, which tend to rotate out on a yearly basis, and these are much more expensive potentially, and some of the higher ones contain in real life swag. So, there's, for instance, t-shirts and things like that that are available in the more expensive packs. So I think you get a cloth map of the Atlas in the middle pack. The second top pack has the cloth map of the Atlas, plus also the Lord's Labyrinth gamebook, and then the very top tier one, the Orion supporter pack, which is very expensive, comes with a bunch of signed prints of artwork from the game. They're actually quite spectacular. Lastly, there is the First Blood pack. So that gives you a quick overview of what's for sale. Let's go through what you might want to buy and why. So I want to put this out as a guide to people who are frugal. So you're not looking to spend a lot on a game, you're looking to keep your entertainment costs down. If that's not you, then just buy whatever the hell you want. So firstly, if you're a frugal player, what you're going to want to do is completely ignore the armor sets that are not included in supporter packs. An example of this is in the cash store. There's the microtransaction section, and you'll see here there's these armor packs. These are all expensive. There are no cheap ones, none at all. Some of them look pretty spectacular, but they come at a considerable price. So you want to just completely ignore all of the armor skins that exist. They're solely aimed at high spend players. I want to suggest that you spend nothing at all on cosmetics, until you've run at least 20 or 30 or 50 maps, killed one of the Conquerors of the Atlas. This will typically happen about level somewhere between 75 and 80, and it will ensure that you're actually still liking the game. You know, that you're not sort of someone that likes the game for a little while and then quickly determines it's not for you. At that point, if you still like the game, then decide what you're willing to spend. The first thing I want to suggest is that in the supporter pack section, there is a bit of a unique pack that's limited to one per account, the First Blood Starter Pack. On the lowest of budgets, this is the pack that you're going to want to go with. So this is US 20. It comes with the First Blood the First Blood cosmetic weapon effect, a single standard stash tab, and 200 store points. What these 200 store points will do is they will let you purchase certain upgrades to your in-game stash, which I'll show you in a sec. The ones that I want to suggest you want to spend 120 points on a map stash tab, and 60 points on a currency tab, and 10 points on upgrading each of 2 of your standard stash tabs to premium tabs. I'll showcase what all of those tabs do shortly, but one of the things that's important there is that you might notice I've quoted prices that are a little bit less on the map tab than they appear to be in the store some of the time. So if we go into the specials tab, you'll notice right now the map stash tab is 120 store points. That's because I'm recording this during a sale. However, they are normally 150 store points. Grinding Gear Games run stash tab sales roughly every 3 weeks, and they're always on the weekend. In fact, they're almost like clockwork every 3rd weekend. Often they're the first week of a league, and this is an opportunity to get all of your stash tabs. They're always going to be reduced to the same prices in practice, so map stash tab during a sale is always 120 store points. Currency stash tab is always 60. They're the 2 that are the must buys, and that leaves you with 20 points left over, at which point you're going to want to purchase 2 of the upgrade to premium stash tabs down here. So that's on the very lowest of budgets. If you're looking to spend slightly more than that, there's also a $30 option, which is to choose from among the $30 supporter packs that are available. So at the moment, that's the Fate Weaver and the Darkseer packs. Pick whichever one you think has the better cosmetics in it. There's no right or wrong answer. There's only what you think there. That'll give you 250 store points. Wait for a stash tab sale, again, once every 3 weeks, and save your points until then. At that point, buy a map stash tab, a currency tab, a divination card tab, which is the one that you can pick up here that is not available for someone that goes with the First Blood route, and also pick up a single premium stash tab, 3 premium stash tab upgrades. So at the sale prices, that will use all 250 of your store points. At 60 US dollars, you'll be able to pick up any of the higher tier, so $60 supporter packs, which will come with 550 store points. With those points, what I want to suggest that you get is the map tab, the currency tab, the divination tab. They're the 3 that I consider the most essential, and I'll showcase what they do in a sec. That's 330 points that you've got left because you've spent 220. At this point, you can either buy 2 premium stash tab bundles that'll use every last point, or you can buy 1 premium stash tab bundle plus 1 of the herald effects. Herald effects are probably the most useful of the purely cosmetic microtransactions in the game, and I'll just quickly demonstrate that. There's a section for alternate skill effects. Alternate skill effects are among the cheaper of the various cosmetics in the game store, and a number of the herald skills are something that you can use on a lot of different characters. The Dragon Hunter Herald is an unusual one. It's one of the new ones, and it's a bit more expensive than most. And in fact, the White Herald is another oddball. The Stygian Herald effect is 125 store points. Demonic Herald is actually lower, but it's not very good. Sun Prism is 125. It, I think, is one of the best. Bloodguard Herald is 125. Faith Guard is 125. And then there is the Celestial Herald Gem, the Automaton, the Wasteland, the Celestial, and the Sin Herald effect. All of those are, and there's also the Innocence one, which I don't actually have myself. All of these are worth your while looking into. Because Herald skills are something that you will often use on a lot of different characters, they're something that you will pretty much always have a use for. That said, they're purely cosmetic. There's no in-game benefit to having them, they're just for bling. So, the second option was to purchase the Premium Tab bundle, 1 Herald effect when it's not on sale, and 4 Premium Tab upgrades. Or the last option I want to suggest is to purchase 2 of the Quad Tabs. I'll get to the Quad Tabs in a sec. They are really useful. They function as a Premium Tab, but they're 4 times as large. You spend the rest on Premium Tab upgrades and on single Premium Tabs. At this point, what I'll do is I'll bring up the game client and demonstrate what all of the different tabs look like in practice. So here we are, welcome to my hideout. This is the currency tab. You'll notice that there's a very large amount of items in here. Basically, it's a spot that you can store all of the common currency items in the game, plus you've got a few wildcard spots to store various uncommon currency items that you might pick up over time. This is a really useful tab, and like I say, it's a must-have. This here is the map tab. Just in terms of the number of items stored, it is incredible. It also has a number of useful features like letting you filter just tier 16 maps, or 15 or 14 if you feel like running those. It lets you store all of your unique maps in one spot. And it provides you with information, as you'll see here, that for the Canyon map, I have the Atlas bonus complete, I have the Awakening bonus complete. So, combination of lots of useful information and generally useful sorting makes this a must-have. The Divination card tab, I think, is the third most beneficial one to have, just simply because it stores so many items in one spot, and it also auto-sorts them for you, and lets you do things like show only full stacks of Divination cards. So, for instance, here I can have a look and see, oh, I've got a Set of Humility ready to turn in. I've got, just looking through anything else that I've got, these are always a bit of fun, but they're not particularly valuable. This is fun, but it's not valuable. There's a number of things in here that are, that would be difficult to notice that I had full stacks of, if not for the fact that I've got the Divination card tab here. This is the Fossil tab. This is not an essential thing to have, but it is kind of cool and useful. It's a good way, if you really get into playing around in the Delve section of the game, you'll find that you'll collect a lot of fossils over a league. I don't even have all that many in this league, but you can see there's a number of them. And this will enable you to store them all in one place, and also to bundle them together for crafting. Although that said, I'm not really... Oh, that's the map I've been using Fractured Fossils on, and this is a little silly project that I had on the side. These spots are quite useful for crafting, so if we want to demonstrate how they work, I could then put definitely not that one. Do I have any encrusted fossils, I wonder? Yes, I do. So I can, trying to get white sockets on this, and of course it needs to be scoured first, so I'll grab that, I will scour these boots. This is just in case I ever decided to craft a Skyforth. And that was only one white socket there, so that's not what I was hoping to see. Let's just try that again, and I've used a primitive alchemical resonator, which was stupid. Scouring orb, and then craft again, and this time again, we're not successful in getting more than one white socket on those boots, which was what I was trying to do. Anyway, that is a side project that I'd had going that wasn't very successful. This is the Fragment tab, which has become more useful in recent patches, and is something that I would consider buying if you play at endgame for a longer period of time. It stores all the scarabs you might happen to loot, all of the Shaper and Elder access keys you'll pick up, as well as the less valuable but still worth having Atzuri access keys, Pale Court access keys, and Uber Atzuri access keys, and the very valuable access keys to the domain of Timeless Conflict. The Essence tab is one that I think that you can probably completely ignore for most players. Essences have not aged very well in the game. They're one of those things that used to be a really cool way of crafting that just hasn't kept up with power creep. My advice is to skip the Essence tab unless you know that you need it. This is what a premium tab looks like, and this is what a quad tab looks like. So if we'll just take this Agilrod staff and stick it in here, you'll see here that this staff takes up 8 of 144 squares, so 1/18th of this tab. On the flip side, the same staff only takes up 1/72nd of the quad tab. Quad tabs being able to handle a much larger number of items in them. This means that quad tabs have a lot of use as somewhere that you can run a bunch of maps, then just throw everything in your inventory into a quad tab. When that quad tab fills up, then it's time to spend 10 minutes actually doing proper inventory management and cleaning it all out. That's a very popular way to play the game, very popular with a lot of experienced players. For that reason, they will tend to suggest going with the quad tabs, and I can't really disagree. I do find though that quad tabs can be a little bit clumsy to use as well. I just happen to have a lot of single tabs and didn't feel like buying more quad tabs when quad tabs were added to the game, but I suggest that you try both. You will have your normal tabs, even though you don't have premium tabs to start to mess around with. One thing that all premium and quad tabs can do is you can set prices on items in them. So if you're looking to sell items, you can list them as these items are all for sale at 7 chaos, and they're listed publicly. That means that other players can find them reasonably easily. On the flip side, these items are also listed, but not as ones, but as lots of 50, and each lot of 50 of these resonators costs 110 chaos. So that's something that people can just send me a message while I'm playing the game, and I'll go, oh yep, sure, let's meet in my hideout. There are ways to do this without premium tabs, but they are clunky and awkward. Anyways, that's all of the different types of tabs except for one, the unique tab. The unique tab is one that I don't have, because it's designed for a very special niche use case, which is people who have a collection of unique items that's their pride and joy. I'm not really a collector, so for that reason, that hasn't sort of jumped out at me as a must-have. Anyways, if you've got any comments or questions, fire away below. Hopefully that has been useful as a bit of an oversight as to the must-buys. So a quick recap. Firstly, don't buy anything from the cash store until you reach about level 75 or 80 and you've decided that you do want to stick with the game. At that point, a 20, 30 or 60 US dollar supporter pack is the way to go. That will give you enough points to set up a decent stash. The absolute must-haves are the map tab and the currency tab, because they store so much and they store so many of items you will have a lot of. And then after that, the divination card tab is, in my opinion, the next best choice. You will also want to upgrade some of your standard tabs for premium tabs to make trading with other players easier. There are workarounds if you don't have premium tabs, but they are a pain in the ass to use. Lastly, consider quad tabs. They are, for some people, they have been absolutely fantastic. I don't have all that many of them, and I've found them to be useful, but not as much of a must-have as other people have said. Everything else in the cash store is purely fluff. So you'll see these Sun Prism cats that I've got alongside me here. You've got these wings are no longer available. They were one of the previous supporter packs. This is the black armor set with the white character effect. This is, I can't remember what these weapon effects are. There is the outlaw weapon effect is an old, and the crucible weapon effects. So they're old, no longer available packs that are there, and that's the red cyclone. As well as that, I'm using a bunch of other alternate skill effects. Alternate skill effects generally are cheap. The armor sets are expensive. And that apparition there is from the Empyrean supporter pack. Anyways, if you've got any comments or questions, fire away. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a good one.